Hello, 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 everyone. I am excited for our chat today because we are talking about building stronger ladders. And no, we're not talking about the ladders that lean up against your home. We are talking about your community, your resources, and everything within. So I have an amazing guest, Miss Katie. Thank you for coming onto the podcast today.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
My name is Katy Jackman. I'm the director of rental operations at the Landings Company, which is a brokerage here in Savannah. And then I'm also owner of Jackman Holdings Consulting, where I do a lot of multifamily syndication and consulting on failing multifamily deals.
Mm. You let us in right there when you mentioned the failing part. How did you know that that would be your avenue for you to succeed in?
I love organized chaos. I'm glutton for punishment, you know. I started as a leasing agent at 19, maybe 20 years old. Um, and the first couple of years, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I had an amazing leader, for the first person to bring me into the industry. So she really helped me kind of fall in love with it. And there was a couple of times where I thought I'd want to leave the industry and didn't make it very long. Ended up right back in it. So
Yeah.
just kind of by chance found it and realized I loved it. It's a very gratifying job when you get to assist people in making them happy with their home. It's one of the most important things we have.
Yeah, I love that. And so, as we are kind of talking about your journey into property management, when we spoke during our previous podcast episode, you said something that spoke my interest, which was that you got the leasing agent job through luck, right? So,
hmm
how important do you believe that it is for our listeners to have that understanding that sometimes you don't always know like the next foot that you will put in front of the other, but that if you trust in yourself and trusting your gut instinct, you will fall directly where you need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being indecisive is like the number one killer for all of us. Sometimes you just need to point and shoot, and even if it doesn't work out, it's going to teach you what you don't want, and it's going to teach you what doesn't work. So if you don't, just kind of jump in and start with something, you will never know.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%. So as you have now moved into this space where like you're managing these different teams and you're managing these different properties and you're seeing like you're being exposed to so much, what would you say is one of the biggest challenges in managing these type of assets?
I mean, it's people. It's always, it's a people business, and I think a lot of owners, a lot of people in this industry, they all say, "Oh, well, we put our residents first. We put our residents first," and that's great. We should, but if you don't put your teams first, you're not putting your residents first. If there's constant turnaround, of employees on your properties, that's not putting your residents first. If you take care of your team, they'll take care of your residents.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And I think, as far as just the challenge in multifamily in general really all leads back to that. And, every property that I've turned around, the last two multifamily deals I turned them around by, 26 to $36,000 a month.
Mm.
Um, but it's really just the teams I built and teaching them why they do what they do. Um, and when you have that and you have people who are then inspired by you, um, everything just goes better, versus just looking at the dollar signs and focusing on just your residents.
Yeah, I love that, and I would love that. That was one of the connections that you and I had when we first started speaking is the power of people, right? Because we do see that there you can like value the business, you can value your business growth as a property manager, you can value moving all around because that's a beautiful part, right? About property management is you can live in Savannah, then you can live in Florida, then you can live in Alaska, you can go to all of these different places, but when you're the example, when you're the inspiration of what success could look like, the people who are up under you, they value that more than sometimes they value their paycheck because you become the inspiration to them. And do you mind sharing that story that you told me about the guy who started out as like a what do you call it?
Groundskeeper.
Yeah, the
hmm
groundskeeper. Thank you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about this industry is there's no glass ceiling.
Yeah.
If you want a challenge, there's always a challenge out there in this industry. Being promoted for doing well in the industry is very common. And you can move your way all the way to owner, which is kind of where I'm at in my career now, trying to syndicate and buy my own multifamily. Um, I started really young. So I was a regional by the time I was 26, 27. But it's just kind of like, okay, well, what now? But yes, the story is someone who is a mentor. I consider a mentor, amazing guy. He is in the National Apartment Association, and he teaches what's called a CAM license class. So it's a certified apartment manager, but it's so much more than that. It really dives into the financials, and again, just teaching you why you do what you do. And he started in the industry as a groundskeeper in college, he said, and then he worked his way up to maintenance supervisor. Then he worked his way to property manager, and now he's an owner. So he's an owner and an investor, and he just loves the industry so much himself. Like, he gets to travel around and teach other people um, their CAM license as well as some other credentials that he offers. He has a website called 90 Minutes to Success, and it's got lots of great information. He's got a lot of really good courses. His name's Rich George, if anybody wants to look him up. He's especially if you are, struggling with leadership in your own company, he's a really great source to reach out to. Yeah, that's his small version of his story. He definitely inspired me a lot in my own career. He teaches hundreds of people, and he's busy owning and investing with other partners. But if you can text this man and say, "Hey, can you explain this like cap rate formula to me again?" And he'll get on a call with you, and he'll give you 30 minutes of his time. So great guy, big inspiration. But yeah, I mean that's my favorite thing about this industry is if you just keep asking yourself what next,
Mhm.
it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Another part that I love about you that you mentioned when we spoke previously is the power of investing in yourself. Please let the people know how important that is.
Absolutely. It's going to pay over tenfold every time.
Yeah.
I have, like I said, I got my CAM license, and that was something I had to kind of seek out on my own. And that was from joining my local apartment association. So those are really great ways to invest in yourself, whether it's in this industry or another one is, whatever your career field is, look for associations affiliated with that. We have local and state and national apartment associations. So I had joined that and I served on their board for a little while. And then they're like, hey, we're teaching this CAM license course. So let my job know and, let my company know. And it's a 5-day course. So that's a great one. And then last year I went ahead and bit the bullet and I took my real estate exam, and I'm now a licensed real estate agent in the state of Georgia. And they were both huge investments. The more you invest in yourself by joining community groups and educating yourself. It doesn't always have to be a crazy degree. It's just these certifications. They'll always pay you back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's so true. And then another thing that we have in common with each other is the power of consistency. In queenhood, in my Confidence Academy, I emphasize to the ladies that consistency will teach you things that you can read 1,000 books, you can listen to 1,000 podcasts, you can have a trillion mentors, but the
Right.
consistency to actually do the work to take what you've learned and implement it, it is hard, right?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yes, but
That's
it
a good
pays
point.
off so much.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to keep biting at it every day. Not every day is going to be a great day, right? Some days are hard, and maybe, you just showing up and getting a few things done that day works. We'll get up the next day and know it's a new one, and you can try it out again.
Yep. Yep. I love that. Can you share with the audience your perspective of like not people keeping people in the dark and keeping their eye like on the big vision?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, communication is number one, especially in this industry. What you'll see is owners and VPs, they, for some strange reason, they like to kind of keep everything like a weird secret, like, oh, we're going to put this property for sale, but we don't want to tell anyone yet. Or, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to refinance. So the bank needs to come do an inspection, but we don't want to tell the team why we're doing it, which is really the opposite of how it should be. My partner, he was in the Ranger Battalion here in Savannah, um, earlier in his career, and he said the fundamental thing for leadership in the military is not keeping your people in the dark, all the way down the line too. Um, People trust you and they follow you when you just tell them why they're doing what they're doing. Who wants to go to a job and be told, turn this apartment around, paint this apartment? Okay, why? Why is this one day more important that the grounds look perfect? Um, if you just be more honest with your people and you give them your vision and just tell them why you are doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
they trust you more. It's a lot easier to go in and do your job every day when you know why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then again, that's investing back in them because you're teaching them what these fundamentals are that you're working towards, and why don't you want them to have that knowledge? Investing in their knowledge is investing in your company.
Yes. That's so good. If you could share a word of empowerment with the other property managers that listen to my podcast as well,
Yeah.
if you could share a word of encouragement with them, knowing that this is a like underappreciated industry, if you could share a word with them about empowering them personally, their confidence, so that way they can show up more professionally, what would you say?
I would say we're lucky to be in this industry because there's no glass ceiling. It's a very woman dominated industry as well, which is great. Women do so well in this industry because typically we multitask a little better, and we wear so many hats in this field. So we do really well at it. And yeah, like invest in yourself just as much as you invest in the company you work for. And maybe sometimes it's the culture of the company. If things don't always jive, if you're not happy and where you're at, not you don't have to take everything so personally. I've had companies where I'm like, I don't really drive with this policy, but it's not personal.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, just again, like, investing in themselves, go get your CAM license, go get your real estate license. You can turn that into a broker license down the line, and companies always need a broker license to attach to a lease. So there's just so much room for growth. You're going to have those hard days where somebody comes in your office screaming, or your best employee puts in their notice and it feels discouraging. It's exhausting. Again, we wear so many hats in this industry. We're maintenance, we're HR, we're accountants, we're psychologists, really. Um, and it can be an underappreciated, but just know that we didn't sign up for retail, we didn't sign up for the food industry. We signed up for people's homes.
Yeah.
um, that's where they go every day. It's one of the most important parts of their lives, and we're very fortunate that we get to help improve that.
Yes. I love that. So, what is the vision for your career?
Yeah, so I am working on a syndication right now. I joined a mentor team with a man called Joshua Ferrari. So I'm really eager, looking forward to this upcoming year, raising capital to own um, my own communities. Um, so the past few years of my career really were sent I was sent, when there's a failing deal or something's going wrong and things are unstable on a property. um, I'm the person who they send to fix it. So I have a really great eye for opportunities because I'm like, oh well, this one's for sale because they're struggling with XYZ. Okay, well, I've already fixed that before. I think this is still a really great deal. We'll offer this much, and I already know what we need to do. So I think that's really my vision, and it's also my vision inside of syndicating and owning multifamily. Just kind of like the title of this, your podcast episode is just building stronger ladders. I really want to focus on employee retention, and I want all my employees to talk about how much they love the company they work for. And I want to see them grow. I want to take those single moms and those, hardworking dads and people who maybe didn't think that they were going to learn these things and have these kind of opportunities and say, hey, I was a single mom once. I started as a leasing agent, and I'm actually, now my next to do is to own 200 units. It's possible for any of us.
Yes. He just gave me the chills because that's so like empowering. Like I love that because I was just teaching the girls in my academy the women in my academy this past Sunday about the vision. And I love how you have that vision that's just not selfish to you. It's remembering the old version of yourself, remembering the hopes and the desires that you had, and like now you've done the work and are doing the work to make that vision a reality, which is like your mission. And so, can we speak about the concept of building stronger ladders? Because I love how you explain it in reference to like making sure the people up under you are exactly where they need to be.
Yeah, one of the things I want to be able to implement to focus on this vision of having this, company with really happy people who stay and grow and provide for themselves and their family in ways they never thought possible. Um, a lot of that is, I think, we don't really study. We have all these AI tools, we have all these HR softwares, and we don't really have an algorithm to really study what people want, right? Maybe your leasing agent left because she wanted a promotion and you never even had that conversation with her. I've been there, and one of the best things someone told me was it's not a no, it's a not right now. Um, you know, find out, not everybody wants the stress of, promotion of being a manager. Not everybody wants to be a property manager, but you need to find out. There's a book, and I forget which one it is, but it talks about you have your stars and you have your superstars.
Mm.
So your stars are those people that they're really great, they're consistent, they're detailed, they're amazing at their job, you love them. They just, there's nothing wrong with the fact that they just don't really need the extra stress of moving up to the next level. But they always perform, they always give you what you want. And those people you need to appreciate just as much as the ones who want to grow. But then you have your superstars. And I have absolutely left positions before because I wasn't being offered the growth I asked for, and your superstars, they need that growth. You've got to give it to them. It doesn't always have to be in the form of a promotion or money, right? That's the book's The Five Love Languages in the Workplace, I think is what book I'm talking about. Um, but so, maybe they just want to travel more and you need a traveling leasing agent or, maybe you can go pay for their CAM license, give them more education. So you really do, you have to, and there's so many tools now where we can be measuring that,
Yes.
you can kind of see who's happy, who's unhappy and why.
Yep.
And that's really important. So, I won't get anywhere if my team isn't getting anywhere.
Right.
It's just so important. I was offered a promotion one time and I did take it, and it was with an amazing company. They're Pride Rock Capital Management. I really loved. I worked for them for a long time, and like, okay, well, we're going to give you this promotion. Here's what we're going to offer. What you need to do is you're going to have to start traveling to Atlanta and North Carolina. Um, and I said, that's great. I want to take it. At the time, I was on a site that had 176 units. And I had this amazing assistant manager, but it was just her and I. So my first thought was, okay, well, this promotion's great. I'm going to be traveling a lot. Or
Mhm.
this person, she's going to be here by herself now. So I'm taking on a promotion and I'm getting rewarded, but I'm asking her to now take on more work.
Mhm.
And if I lose her, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
So I said, that's great. I'd love to accept the promotion. You're offering me this much more of a raise. I love it, but I want you to consider maybe offering me slightly less. I kind of had a number in mind, and I'm asking you if I take this promotion, we need to give her a raise and
Yeah.
make sure we acknowledge what she's going to be doing. Because if you don't acknowledge the people helping you get there, and that's the thing, she helped me get there. She helped me get my promotion because she helped me make our property look great just by being there for me every day.
Yes.
Um, but they ended up giving her the raise and not cutting my promotion pay. So it was a win-win. But it was so important. And then everything thrived because we focused on everyone else below us.
Yes. Oh, that was so good. And then even to circle back around when you talked about the stars and the superstars, that is so, so, so good because it made me think about in this experience that I've been growing in with seeing the different properties and the managers and everybody underneath, how there are a lot of leasing agents who, like you said, they don't want that promotion, but it is so powerful as a property manager to have that conversation with them because maybe they're in Savannah and maybe they're from Savannah. They've been in this role for a while, they do it great, but maybe they have the desire to move to Miami. It would mean just as much as that to them if their property manager reached out to someone, a different property manager in
Right.
Miami
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, Ashley wants to move there in a year. Can we work hand in hand to make this a reality for her?" And maybe she still stays a leasing agent, but now she's a bomb.com leasing agent in the environment that she wants to be in. That may boost her to possibly want to be a superstar in that different environment. But it starts with, like you said, having that conversation with the people to grow them first in ways that are meaningful to them. So that way, inevitably, again, we are building those stronger ladders.
Yeah. And when you do that, I mean, all you get back is loyalty and
Mhm.
trust, and you can trust them more because everyone's happier. You don't have people disgruntled. Less micromanaging, employee retention, losing a good employee costs anywhere from ten to $30,000
Hmm.
in 1 year. It's astronomical, and we don't focus on it enough. But I mean, absolutely, I agree. And one of my most favorite leaders that I ever had, she knew that I was originally from Vegas, and we had a acquisition coming up in Vegas. So even though I was here in Savannah, she's like, "Hey, we might have an acquisition in Vegas like in like 2 days. 'Cause this stuff happens really fast." Like she had 2 days notice. Do you want to go? And that meant the world to me. I mean, I would have done anything for her because she just recognized everybody on her team.
Yes. This was such a good talk. It was such a good talk because it just reminds the listeners that as long as we as women pour into ourselves, invest into ourselves personally, so that way we continue to have these good energies, these good vibrational frequencies, it's the inevitable that when we show up in the workplace, the same level of confidence will be poured into the employees that work up under us. And so, as we wrap, I would love for you to share with the audience where they can stay connected with you and how you would like for them to stay connected with you, learn more about you, or any next steps.
Absolutely. So I have jackmanholdings.net. That's a really great place to start. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn's always a great place to reach out to me. My website has my contact information. And then again, I'm, here at the Landings Company. They're amazing. Their retention rate is unreal. And what I really love about them as well is they give me a lot of reign to do what I think needs to be implemented to get things done. And if you think that's going, go ahead. No, it's not a lot of micromanagement. And they understand that value isn't always just a number. You know. So the landings company is great. You can always reach out to me here. But yeah, jackmanholdings.net is my website. And LinkedIn is also a great place.
Yes, this is so wonderful. Before we go, I just had this random question as well. Can you see yourself in the future being like a mentor to other women or men that could see themselves wanting to like take the same route to buy multifamily properties and help them out? Because you speak about how you have found so much value in mentors in your life. Could you see yourself doing the same thing?
Absolutely. Again, my goal is never to pull the ladder up as I, improve and I grow. I love to mentor other people. I'm a numbers person too. So when I talk about that why, if any of you guys listening, maybe you have leaders who aren't pouring into you and they're not teaching you why you're doing what you're doing, feel free to reach out to me. I love to teach the why of what we do. Um, you know, the the properties that I've turned around in the past few years, one of the biggest reasons I kept everybody motivated, because I mean it's like D-Day on these things. I mean, I took over when there hadn't been an entire team for 30 days. So you can only imagine how livid the residents were. So we're just walking into fire. But as we improved it, and I saw how people are kind of tired after a month of this, but I'd pull our numbers and I'd say, guess what? And this, my groundskeeper, my maintenance tech, my leasing agent, my assistant, pull them all in here. Tyler, look, our delinquency is down 50%. That's because of you. Malaysia, our occupancy's up 3%. That's because of you. These little things that you guys do every day, Tom, my groundskeeper, um, Malaysia is able to lease those apartments because you make sure the grounds are beautiful when people drive in. And the residents get more out of that when our finances are better, right? Then we can pour more into the property for the residents. So when you show them that, I'm like, holy cow, look, we've increased the NOI by $26,000. That's you guys.
Yeah.
You guys did that, not me. Um, and that is like it's amazing. This
Yeah.
it makes people so motivated, but so true. So I'd love to mentor, and if anybody ever struggles with the why or just wants to know a little bit more, you know, on the financials or anything dealing with multifamily, happy to help if they want to reach out.
Yes. Oh, goodness, Katie, thank you so much for this conversation. You are so amazing and so helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for reaching out. I'm looking forward to watching more of your podcast episodes and seeing you grow in Orlando
Yes. Thank
and
you.
doing
I'm
what you
excited
do.
about Orlando. Yes. And for our listeners, thank you as always for tuning into our podcast. Queenhood is all about creating relationships where we trust each other and creating relationships where you can grow personally, you can grow professionally, your confidence comes from within, ensuring that it feels authentic. And this podcast episode is just another real-time example of how when you pour into yourself, when how you invest in yourself, inevitably you'll be investing more into your future. So, Katie, until next time, we need another episode after this one.
All right. Yeah.
Yes,
Sounds good. I'm ready when you are. Thanks so
yes,
much.
ma'am. You're welcome. We'll see you guys later.